What's going on, you guys? We're back again on that episode on Jolly Sports, and it's me, your favorite host, Shagun Vincent. Unfortunately, my second presenter he won't be available to some due to an emergency, but of course, trust me that you got able to enjoy the show today. And how was your weekend, guys? I had a wonderful weekend. Some people went to eat jollof rice, but me, I just had my fun. I was eating my own jollof rice in my own house. Without further ado, let's get right in. Amazing weekend, no doubt. Going for the EPL games that I played over the weekend. We saw the Manchester Derby. We saw Arsenal winning. We saw Burnley, the Burnley Liverpool game. Of course, the first game was Burnley versus Liverpool. Liverpool won that game on the 83rd minute by a penalty by a goal to Mohamed Salah. I think that look at this Liverpool side, they seem to be scoring goals at the 80 something minute, 80 something minutes. And yes, it might be stuff of champions, so they are showing doggedness, determination, and all of that. You have to take out Keke. Keke was moving forward at some point in time. It probably was a liability defensively. This Liverpool side, like I predicted earlier on in this show, I said that there's a likelihood that Salah's group might drop because of the dynamics of the team. Florian Wirtz has not clicked in this team. Yeah, it might be early days, like the other presenter said, early days, but now from clap, that's the start, Egungun will start in Johnny. We'll start from somewhere. What I've tipped, like I said before, I really don't see him doing much this season. Probably next season, that they well for this team. And understanding that this Liverpool side have played very well last season, won the league. They could now bringing in new players like Ekitike, brought in Isak. They said that in case Salah goes for AFCON next year and all of that. So you look at those dynamics there. Good we know that for Liverpool, but how long will they keep winning at the 80 something minutes? Time will tell as regards that. The next game we'll be talking about is another amazing game. Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal. Arsenal, for the first time, Zumeli scored a goal outside of the box. He scored two goals. And of course, the what some people call the underway soldier or the bilateral agreement between Chelsea and Arsenal never seems to never seems to want to. We saw the assist for Grekers, Victor Grekers. Yeah, it's amazing, amazing, no doubt. Madwiki. Well, one of the issues I've had with players like Madwiki, of course, they're talented, young players. How can they be consistent in delivering these week in, week out when the odds are down, when the team is not playing very well, when they have to show character? Because at the end of the day, you have to better than your opponent for 38 weeks. We saw Zubimendi scoring the outside goal, bringing from the form from when it comes to from the international break, 10 players are always very lethargic. The energy is not really there. But we saw an amazing game, no that from Arsenal. Again, the question is, does Ateta stifle the creativity of Arsenal? Is Arsenal closer to Man City in terms of style of play, or are they closer to Stoke? It's a question that is on everyone's lips. Let's see how that pans out for us now as they go on and they play other games and Champions League as the case may be too. On the next game, the Manchester Derby. Before Manchester Derby, I am my host. He's a Man U fan, and Red Devils, Man U fans. Even if they employ Lizard as their coach, they will support him. They always support their managers. And they're banking on their head-to-head. The recent time we had some form of good head-to-head towards Man City. Man City has done little changes here and there. They had some people complain that they have defective priorities. There's argument about the divorce Guardiola is going through or has gone through is affecting him. Because he's the kind of player that he's the kind of player that he's the kind of manager, that brings his energy, the team will his energy, or whether it's an argument or not. We saw the game. Man U had a bit of the ascendancy in the first 10 minutes, but eventually Man City took over. And the argument of putting Bruno in the lone 10, the system of Man U, but Man City showed chance of a champion. Donnarumma made arguably the save of the season. That save is showed why they went for him. Prior to the signing of Donnarumma, the arguments of, was Donnarumma the type of Man City kind of player? Was he kind of Pep kind of player? Was he the kind of guy to do the job? But he's a big tall lad, big guy, command of area. They said, he had issue with passing. And even recently came out to the media to say that what they were saying happened is because they were having issues, a contractual issue between him and the manager of PSG, although they're saying that Eric didn't want it. So we saw that. We saw Kosmanov. We saw O'Reilly. They were amazing. Though Rodi had this fall because he has been off to Dubai for almost a year. And of course, Haaland, he loves Man U. He's just in love with Man U. From people say maybe because of the tackle that Raheem did for his dad, that's why he has taken Man U personal. He's joined top highest goal scorer in Manchester Derby and has done it in lesser game. Foden two, I think it's two goals behind goal contribution for again in a Manchester Derby game. Man U up forward now. Yeah, the argument of player, is he a system player, is he a mandem player? We saw that, and there's another thing again that he does that Ruben Amorim or Amorim, whichever how to pronounce his name, he has been the manager that's always been bringing in defenders every game. Every game he brought in Maguire again. Until Maguire did that promo. The man never stops doing promo. I wonder why the likes of Luke Shaw and Maguire are still being paid in Man U. The formula they are using is really working. But I put it to you, the viewers. Uh, does Man U need prayers, or does prayers need Man U? It is the question that we need to ask our viewers. Another game that we saw over the weekend is the Spurs game. We saw Spurs. We saw Spurs. We saw Spurs defeat West Ham 3 goals to nil. Graham Potter, Graham Potter and Amorim are tipped. I'm tipping them to be the least, the guys that are, the coaches I mean that will be sacked before before November. I said December before, but I think November is yeah. We saw the manager Luis Espirito come to Forest, and we saw the argument. But you see the same different manager, same old story. Uh, Spurs winning the game, amazing game, all that for Spurs. This Spurs side, is it initial Gagra? Really don't know. Time will tell whether Spurs will be Spurs or will be Spurs as the case may be, or would they do something different? Remember that they won the Europa Cup last season, but he didn't change the dynamics of things. I think they were on the lower bottom of the table on the other side. So let's see how it pans out for Spurs. Of course, we saw Chelsea versus Brentford. Chelsea had the game on ascendancy. They were doing they were doing everything, and they were quite Casedio and all of that. And Brentford, I never expected. Brentford was the last side for me to think that they're going to get a point. They've changed managers, lost players, they've lost Bemo, they've lost. So I saw that game, and Brentford somehow was able to nick in that result. Chelsea still has some cracks on the wall. Time will tell whether we will see the cracks on the wall, or maybe the walls, the painting will conceal the cracks. Time will tell about that. So let me call the other games, the result of the other games over the weekend. We saw, like I said, Liverpool. Liverpool won that game away from home, 1 goal to nil. Man City, Man U, 3 goals to nil. Arsenal was Nottingham Forest. New manager, same result, 3-0. Bournemouth, Brighton. Bournemouth won that game 2 goals to 1 in favor of Bournemouth. Crystal Palace, Sunderland. Crystal Palace seems to be loving the draws. 0-0. I think we predicted a full-time draw last week. Everton, Aston Villa. Aston Villa are yet to score this season after 4 games. Is Emery having having his downtime? We really don't know. Or somebody well, with time will tell. Fulham versus Leeds. Fulham won the game 1 goal to nil. Newcastle Wolves. Newcastle finally scored their first goal. Finally won the game. They haven't won this season, and their striker delivered at least away from the shenanigans of Isak and he not wanting to play and how it affected the team. But glory be to God, they won that game. West Ham versus Spurs. Spurs won that game, like I said earlier. And the last game of the weekend, it was or is Brentford versus Chelsea. So that's without further ado. We'll go into the games for the weekend. We'll go for game for the weekend. The weekend we have three to four games that I'm going to look up. That's the Merseyside derby, the derby between Man U and Chelsea, and of course Arsenal versus Man U and Arsenal Man City. I mean, we look at the Liverpool Everton game. Everton has only won once at the Anfield in recent times. I think the past maybe 10 to 15 years. Liverpool and ascendancy. Everton too. David Moyes bringing Jack Grealish. They've changed a couple of things in their side. This side, Everton, a very stubborn side. I believe that Liverpool will win that game, but it's going to be something somewhat likely. It's something meaning they're going to win. Maybe a goal to nil. Maybe Isak getting that goal. I'm tipping Isak to score his goal on his debut, unless a miracle happens. Of course, I know that Pickford, Everton, a very studious side, 5 at the back, back the balls, and 10 men behind the ball, and all of that. They're going to make it very difficult for for Everton to for Liverpool to do something for them. Now, the Man U versus Chelsea game. This is a game that's rival fans. It just never this game just never go away. The energy from both sides the energy from both sides is a bit, and then there are rumors out there that Ruben has to get a result in that game. If he doesn't get a result in that game, it will be they will sing that song for him, the song that they sang in one church like that. Ile lo ń lọ taratara, ile lo ń lọ tara. He will pursue hope. Ruben has to get his house in order. I think the past two games, I think it's the past 5 games, it has been two wins from each side and a draw. Last season we saw 4-3, there was 1-2, 2-1, there was 1-1 there. This Chelsea side too, they are not as fantastic as people think they are. I just say, and I don't know that I'm going to be, the people I'm going to cough my head for saying this, but I feel like it's going to be a full-time draw. It's going to be a 1-1 score draw, and it's going to be scored by an unlikely source from both sides. An unlikely source from both sides. This is a debut, since the Fergie days, to the Mourinho days, to the Conte days, to the Tuchel days, to the only days, only social days. When you go back to play their fantastic pack the bus game against Chelsea, or are they going to go all out like they did against Arsenal? Although, because Man U are going to be at home, of course, so the advantage will be on them. Although there's no more Old Trafford anymore, it's just Trafford. They've taken away the old. Everybody has seemed to be has this confidence going to Old Trafford that they can get a point in that game. The next game we're going to be analyzing is Arsenal versus Man City. Last season, Arsenal demolished Man City at the Emirates 5-1. Man City were having their what they call their period. They're having their poor time. They were terrible last season. The worst ever start for them this season, losing back-to-back game that's ever happened in the history of Guardiola. Of course, Man City seem a bit off. They say he had fun too. They say he had those moments against Man U, even though they had to won the game. But we saw Donnarumma giving them, of course, it gives them that confidence. They have that confidence in him that, oh, don't worry, well, our Him, we're with you. And I see that, of course, Haaland, they've questioned Haaland's performance against Arsenal. That he went, I think, 5 or 4 games drought without scoring against Arsenal until last season when he scored at the Etihad, when he scored that goal, that's having assist. It's going to be a tough game, no doubt. Buki, I think, is still unlikely for that game. Nobody knows when he's going to come back. Saliba made the bench yesterday for Napoli, Napoli against Athletic Bilbao. He made the bench, but of course, the new guy that they brought in there, he's doing some stuff. I think he's bringing some composure there. Not that big money by 13 million. He has showed some steadiness, kind of fury. This Arsenal side are still in there. Is Arsenal going to go back to play their 30 minutes possession against Man City, and then Man City have the ball? Foden is back, showing as so class. Although last season he had a very down time. I agree with all his policies since he came to Man City as he started playing regular football. The eyes will be on Haaland, Foden. And one of the issues I've also had with Manchester wingers with Savinho and Doku was that they've not been able to replicate the aside from dribbling players. Of course, it's good to dribble, but for most, it's not a game of stats now. So assist and goal. So which is what Doku had 2 assists over the weekend. Can he have those assists? Can he keep having assists weekend? Last time he had 2 assists in the game was against Bournemouth last season, and he has not had 2 assists in a single game since that time. So these are the issues they will have to look at. They will have to look at as long as that. So let me call out the other games for you. Brighton versus Spurs. Brighton did the double against Spurs last season. Can Spurs shake things up? And probably maybe Spurs has also been one of the best. They have one of the best defense in the league this season because there's only one goal. Only Arsenal has better than Arsenal has conceded only one goal in 4 games. Are they going to be shaking that side? Van der Vel came up to say that their system, the compactness, how they play, has really helped them in creating that defensive solidarity for them. Will things change or will things not change? Time will tell as regards that. Burnley, Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, a new coach. Burnley too. They had somewhat of a good game against Liverpool. Are they going to change the time tidings? I believe that game, Nottingham Forest are going to get a result in that game. Nottingham Forest straight win, 2.5, and that's very weird. Given two sides are actually technically struggling, giving them that's it. Wolves versus Leeds. Wolves have defeated Leeds somewhat in recent times in their head-to-head, but Wolves too have their issues. And Leeds, their just coming back. I feel like Wolves are going to take this one 1-0. for Wolves. Of course, I said Man U Chelsea. That will be the last game on Saturday, which we analyzed earlier on. I said the full time draw 1-1 in that game. So if you're the bookies, if you're into that, or I think all of that stuff, you can actually take this to the bank. Fulham versus Brentford. Brentford have gotten the result against Chelsea. They've won. I think they've won 2 games and they've won two. Lost 2 games as the case may be. And Liverpool, Fulham. I mean, Fulham is a side that's a stubborn side. I believe that Fulham should get the result in that game. Maybe a 1.5 or that's over 1 goal in that game. Now on Sunday, Bournemouth versus Newcastle. Bournemouth did the double. I think they did the double. They did one draw and they defeated Newcastle 4 goals to 1 last season. And before that time, Newcastle had to beat Bournemouth in 5 games. So this is a record that Newcastle have to break, and Newcastle are going away from home. They're going to have to go to Bournemouth's home stadium to change the dynamics of things. They've gotten a new striker. Wisat is injured. We don't know when he's going to come back. They still have a couple of their players there. Newcastle, finally, they've won the game. It can change the standard of things. It's going to be a close one, but I believe Newcastle is going to win that game. Sunderland, Aston Villa. I think Sunderland is going to take this one, and I think Aston Villa would not score again, unless a miracle happens as regards that. Arsenal versus Man City. I did the I did the analysis earlier on for you guys. So it's gonna be full. I think it's gonna be a full time draw for both sides. Maybe a 0-0, 1-1, high tactical battle in that game. And this and so much more. Thank you for. I think I've done the analysis for last week. I think I have to cut this part, the last part. This part, this last part. Trying to add the news again. It's not that news. It's not news. Okay, yeah. So thanks very much for joining Jolly Sports today. That's all she wrote. From me to you, I say Odaro. How many minutes?